Ho, 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 Jolly. Show us your niblets.
And the Jolly Green Giant isn't. I would like you to meet now, really, truth is, it's not a put on anything, the president of the NBC television network, Mr. Don Durkin, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you, Johnny. This is quite an occasion. Beginning a 10th year and on the 9th milestone. As a matter of fact, I have something here to honor the occasion that all of us at NBC wanted to present you with.
Oh, that's very nice.
I don't know if the cameras can quite catch this, but NBC personnel thought that it would only be right to present you with a brand new temporary employee identification card.
You heard me one night. I was saying everybody had one.
Well, you know, they felt after 9 years it was only right that you have a new one for 1972, and I thought it was such a good idea that I'd give it to you tonight so that we could tear it up together.
That's the temporary?
The temporary identification card.
And this is for real?
For real.
All righty.
What's really under is a permanent NBC identification card. Like all permanent identification cards, except in this respect, they told me it's made out of, I think it's either uranium or platinum or gold, or was it stainless steel?
One of those.
One of those.
That's what
but
it is.
I want you to look at this because it's very personalized. As a matter of fact, you have your old personnel number. You can't see it, but it's 304295.
I did.
It's in and out of the building in great style. It can't be torn up. And as a matter of fact, we think it might have some use to you over at United Nations Plaza in your own building. I understand you've been having some difficulty with those window washers.
Oh, yes.
That
They're
show
at
up
it again.
early.
They're at it again.
And if you catch them on the scaffold around 8 in the morning and you maneuver this right, I don't know if I can do it here, them in such a way that they'd tumble right off the scaffold.
That is really gorgeous. That is really gorgeous, you know? A gold card. Yeah, thank you very much. Employee identification card. I'm here for a while. Don, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Okay, how are we doing on time now? We have to do, we do the commercial first. All right, guess who's coming to dinner? It's our own Chef McMahon with an assist from Uncle Ben's Rice. People often ask if you watch, I watch myself on television. I always watch when I do Art Fern, the tea time movie salesman, because he breaks me up. He does. I can disassociate myself from that character, and I'm watching somebody else, but he's the guy that we do in California very often, who runs the tea time movie with the matinee lady, Miss Carol Wayne. So here is today's tea time movie with Art Fern.
Today's feature film, we've got a real winner for you today, friends. Yul Brynner, Telly Savalas, Phil Silvers, and Fuzzy St. John in the great historical movie, The Wright Brothers Failed to Get It Up. Now, we'll get to that. That's right, friends. First, friends, are you tired of the hassle of city living? Tired of the buses, the cars, the pollution, the noise, the people? Well, get out of town, friends, and leave decent people alone. Now's the time to purchase your vacation home in an undeveloped area called, right here, Drop Out. That's right, friends. When we say country, we mean right on the San Jacinto Fault, which may be leaving the country soon. But now let's say hello to our matinee lady. Would you come out here, my dear? That's right, friends. Now, how would you like to get your hands on one of these? Foundation. Look at the underpinning. Look. You see a lot of frame. That's a frame. Now, friends, I'm talking untouched land. I'm talking rustic. I'm talking... And most of all, I'm talking fast, you know. Because this land is going fast, friends. For a mere... One time, you just walk up and say, hey, where's my... The stone fireplace that goes all the way up. That's right, you get the shaft. The outside... all stuck. And what about the outside?
Front porch I've ever...
Right on. A-frame house is just right for you.
If you're good with your hands, you could do stuff.
Right again. Oh, she's a winner. Out city, 40 miles from nowhere is the crows. This place is for the birds. We stand behind every house, friend. So leave your shades up, will you? Dropout City. A commuter's delight. Live in the country, work in the city. The 8 a.m. flood passes right by your door. You're always straight outdoors because that's where your plumbing is. All this, friends. Plus a full 16th acre of land for only $3,500. Impossible, you say? So did we, till we hired a man named Murray. Don't worry about the purchase price. You Timmy's got bad credit, we don't care. You don't have a job, we don't care. You have a prison record, we don't care. Don't think you'll make the payments? Then we care. Dropout City. Don't know how to find. You get on the Hollywood freeway, you get off at the Slauson cutoff. Cut off your Slauson. The car. Matinee.
We fooled you. You don't have to cut off your slots.
You said it. Now, back to our flick. Another winner, Slim Pickens, Patty Page, Duke Wayne, and Charlton Heston, another classic Western, Kiss My Saddle Horn. Oh, hi there, friend. Back already. Well, we'll be right small. Monty Hall, Richard Wears, and Dr. Kildare opens a lunch hour clinic. But first, friends, you're worried about insurance rates. You're worried about accidents. Are you worried about coverage? We now bring you the latest deal from Shifty of NC. That's right, friends. That's right, friends. The money we save on... Even if you do. Friends, will you come in, matinee lady? Now, friends, take a look at what we cover on these policies. And take a look.
You're in good hands with
Okay. All righty. Crazy Carol wins. This next film clip is kind of extraordinary because it happened in California the night following the earthquake, which of course happened in the morning. We were taping the show with Bob Newhart. There was what they call an aftershock that traveled through the building. You will see, if you watch the monitor closely, you will see the camera actually move because the floor actually moved, but the audience heard it first. Bob and I didn't hear it. We thought we told a bad joke or something. And you'll hear the audience reaction, and it kind of shook everybody up. So here is that piece of tape from California. Bob? We were talking before the show about the Apollo thing, and one of the kind of minor problems they had a short hold on this last one, didn't they, for about 30 minutes. Yeah. And some of them have been very long. 2 or 3 hours, and people sit, and the newsmen have to fill in with film clips and talk to engineers and scientists and the guy who made the rocket. And you did a thing, something like the guy was interviewing...
Well, they finally run out of people to talk to, and they'll grab anybody at that point, because, you know, they're...
I feel so sorry for him.
3 hours in holding.
They keep saying, back to you, Frank. But Frank doesn't want it, obviously. No, Ed Newman, back to you. I don't want it, David. And they run out.
They get that panic look on their face. This is the kind of thing you see about 2 o'clock in the morning when they're in about a 3-hour hold. This is a guy that they've grabbed at the last minute to talk to.
All right. Should I just ask questions, or...?
You ask.
This is Mr., you have a name for this, sir?
Femquist.
Mr. Arthur Femquist, and you were with the space program here at
I've been
Kennedy.
involved, John, in every one of the Apollo shots so far.
Mm-hmm.
I'm involved in the STS portion of the flight.
I see. Now, we have a 3-hour hold here. Exactly what is your specific job in the... Field? Just be cool, folks. Be very cool. Now, let me tell the folks what happened. What?
Earthquake tour. This is earthquake.
This is an earth... This is a... Let me explain to the people who are watching the show who might not have noticed what has happened. We had... well, it's possible. This, you know, they did not feel that back in Nebraska right at this point. But we had a nice little tremor here, which they call an aftershock, and it was very obvious to all of us here. The building moved and shook a little bit. It's over now. Isn't it over now?
Yeah, but isn't it, we're over now?
Yes. That was about a 1-2 on the Carson scale. And when it gets to 2, you will see me on Barroom Boulevard. I think of all the takeoffs that have been done on Dragnet, the very simple thing we did with Jack Webb one night in the Dragnet style, just with dialogue, is kind of a minor classic. So here's the Tonight Show version with Jack Webb of the ever-popular Dragnet. There have probably been 100 takeoffs of Dragnet since it's been on in 14 years. But it's a strange thing, Jack's show is so stylized that no matter what you do, it becomes rather amusing, kind of out of context. So we'll give you a short capsule version of a Dragnet script. This is the city. Los Angeles, California. Some people rob for pleasure. Some rob because it's there. You never know. My name's Friday. I'm a cop. I was working the day watch on a robbery when I got a call from the Acme School Bell Company. There'd been a robbery. There's been a robbery. Yes, sir? What was it? How's that? What was stolen, sir? I run a school bell company. Never had any trouble before. Can't understand it. Just make bells. Never had any trouble. Sir? What was stolen? My clappers. Your clappers. Yeah, you know those things inside a bell that makes them clang? The clangers. That's right, we call them clappers in the business. A clapper caper. What's that? Nothing, sir. Now, can I have the facts? What kind of clappers were stolen on this caper? They were copper clappers. And where were they kept? In the closet? Uh-huh. You have any ideas who might have taken the copper clappers from the closet? Well, just one. I fired a man. He swore he'd get even. What was his name? Claude Cooper. You think he... That's right. I think Claude Cooper copped my copper clappers. Kept in the closet. You know where this Claude Cooper is from? Yeah. Cleveland, that big. That figures. What makes it worse, they were clean. Clean copper clappers. That's right. Why do you think Cleveland's Claude Cooper would cop your clean copper clappers kept in your closet? Only one reason. What's that? He's a kleptomaniac. Who first discovered the copper clappers were copped? My cleaning woman, Clara Clifford. That figures. Now let me see if I got the facts straight here. Cleaning woman Clara Clifford discovered your clean copper clappers kept in a closet were copped by Claude Cooper, the kleptomaniac from Cleveland. Now, is that about it? One other thing. What's that? If I ever catch kleptomaniac Claude Cooper from Cleveland who copped my clean copper clappers from kept in the closet, yes, I'll clobber him. This looks to me like an 802. No, what's that? Klutzy comedy.
Only the name of this innocent actor will be changed to protect his reputation.
Return in a moment after a word from our sponsor.
Come with Max Factor to the land of sugar frost plums, where eyes shimmer with a luscious plum hither look. The frosted radiance of Max Factor's shimmer shadow, and lips dazzle with the million-dollar shine of ultra-lucent whipped cream frosts. Sugared up mauves, candied up plums. You've never had more glowing for you. Sugar Frost Plums by Max Factor.
You know, when you get ready to give a party, you want your whole house to look clean. Well, nothing helps more than clean carpets, and nothing cleans like Blue Luster. Easy-to-use Blue Luster has a gentle foam that brings out the color of your carpets and leaves them beautiful. Blue Luster, soft and beautiful. So go ahead, have a party, then let Blue Luster take care of your carpets. Effective, economical Blue Luster shampoo and the easy-to-use Blue Luster shampooer are available where you see this display.
When you're watching the world go by from a sunny sidewalk cafe, that's living. But with a glass of Lancers, that's the good life. You know why people love Lancers? Shimmering Lancers? Because it tastes so special. Lancers Rosé, imported from Portugal.
To the good life.
Hello there, young man.
It's King Ding Dong.
King who?
Ding Dong, don't you see him?
No.
With the hostess Ding Dong.
To kids, I'm just as real as the good taste of that chocolatey icing and creamy filling.
Fine, Mom. Now do you see him?
I think so, Jimmy.
Hostess Ding Dongs, fruit pies and Twinkies. With Hostess, tasting is believing.
Occasionally on the show, we have tried a put-on. You know, we invite somebody on the show who's not really who he appears to be. One night we had the Mets batting coach, remember, some years ago, when the Mets just started here in New York. And the guy came on, and we interviewed him, and he was going to show us how to hit a ball, and he, of course, kept missing it. This next piece is kind of self-explanatory. We invite, seemingly, the French consul to appear on our show to answer some charges that I've been making too many jokes about France and hurting tourism. So we invite him on the show, and he does it so well the audience buys it. So, Bobby, you want to run that? The more serious matters, as I mentioned in the monologue yesterday, and here's the item from the New York Times business section. It says, United States individuals making reprisal against France. And it tells about some of the stores here in the United States because, I guess, of General de Gaulle's attitude toward Americans and this country in general. And it says, I won't mention his name, his commercial secretary in New York complains that United States TV performers such as Johnny Carson contribute to the situation. He says when they don't know how to make people laugh, they make joke about de Gaulle. So in equal fairness, since this is public air, we invited and we found out the gentleman's name is Pierre, how would you, Bouchard, B-O-U-C-H-A-U-D, Bouchard, Assistant French Deputy Secretary, to discuss the problem. Would you welcome, please, Monsieur Bouchard. Welcome.
Thank you for this opportunity to visit you.
Well, we're delighted to do it, and without going into great details, I wanted to find out what mainly are the objections to making fun, jokes about de Gaulle.
Yes. Well, for one thing, the American public is boycotting French products. Our sales are off rather sharply. And but it is not our policy to make light of President Johnson or to interfere in your affairs. Now, why is it necessary in this country to tell us how to try to run our business? I say that we are being treated unfairly. What do you say to that?
Interesting to sit here and watch my hair turn gray in front of my eyes. Karnak is another character we love to do, and as you know, always on the open. I got into the habit for some reason of taking a little trip on the step, just as a running gag, and we've done it for years, so one night we decided to go the whole route, and another put on. So, Bob, you want to run Karnak? And we'll be right back. Here's Karnak.
One of the most exciting visits when we come to the West Coast is a great visit from our Easterner, the great sage, seer, soothsayer, famous mystic, all-omniscient, and former tax advisor to Governor Reagan, Karnak the Magnificent.
We'll be right back. I think you were the only person in the whole...
Policemen who could get arrested for impersonating policemen tomorrow.
When it gets hot, you get wet. You get wet, you get odor. This is Stay Dry Antiperspirant. It uses a special deodorant that helps stop odor, even at 200 degrees. We set out to prove it. At 90, the subject removed his coat. Stay Dry was working. At 115, he removed everything. Stay Dry was working. At 130, he removed himself. Stay Dry was still working. We know Stay Dry Antiperspirant keeps working at 200 degrees. All we need is a volunteer who will.
Fantastic! Dirt just disappears, like that. No bucket, no water, no mess. Fantastic, so powerful, even grease and grime are gone, like that.
on almost any dirt, anywhere. Fantastic cleans on contact. Like that. Fantastic.
Only an hour old, but a thoroughbred, born to race. Like all the thoroughbreds we'll be doing at Santa Anita during the Oak Tree Meet, starting October 5th.
KNBC, Los Angeles.
One of the great joys of doing this show the past 9 years is being able to listen to this great group of musicians night after night after night. I never get tired of them. We occasionally bite the hand that feeds us on the show. We do takeoffs on commercials, and a few years ago, I think they now have reinstated it again. They did a commercial on a cigar called Eric, I believe, and we changed a little bit. But that's the one where the guy came in on the Viking ship, which actually they filmed in the East River. So we wanted to do our own version. That's right, that's where they filmed it. We wanted to do our own version of that commercial. That's the virile Scandinavian who smokes only these little cigars. So here is Derek is here.
Once.
Derek is here. Derek is here. Derek is here. Yes, Derek is here.
Now we're going to show you a couple of minutes of the only wedding we've ever had on this show. It was December 17th, 1969, as you know, when Tiny Tim took Miss Vicky as his bride. We had 10,000 tulips that were flown in from Holland. Merrill Sindler did a great job on the set. And I think outside of one special that season, and I believe it was the landing on the moon, if I'm not mistaken, which received a higher... Some 45 million people saw that particular show. It was really some kind of an event. So for those of you who missed it, we're going to show you just some excerpts, not the entire scene, but here is some excerpts from Tiny Tim's wedding from 1969. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here in the presence of Christ to join this man, Herbert Buckingham Corey, and this woman, Victoria May Budinger, in holy marriage. And now the promises. Tim saying after me your vows. I, Herbert Corey, being of sound mind.
I, Herbert Corey, being of sound mind.
In the presence of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
In the presence of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
The Son of God.
The Son of God.
And these witnesses.
And these witnesses.
Do humbly and happily.
Do humbly and happily.
And most gratefully.
And most gratefully.
With thy and thy parents' consent.
With thy and thy parents' consent.
Take thee.
Take thee.
Miss Victoria May Budinger.
Miss Victoria May Budinger.
As my lawfully wedded wife.
As my lawfully wedded wife.
Now, Vicky, saying after me your vows. I, Victoria May Budinger.
I, Victoria May Budinger.
Being of sound mind.
Being of sound mind.
In the presence of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
In the presence of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
The Son of God.
The Son of God.
And these witnesses.
And these witnesses.
Do humbly and happily and most gratefully.
Do humbly and happily and most gratefully.
Take thee.
Take thee.
Mr. Herbert Buckingham Corey.
Mr. Herbert Buckingham Corey.
As my lawfully wedded husband.
My lawfully wedded husband.
And now by the authority committed unto me as minister of the church, I do now declare that ye are husband and wife, and whom therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. And the Lord bless thee and keep thee this day and unto the end. Amen. Let me kiss the bride. We'll be back with another crazy thing that happened in California about 3 years ago. Now, meet a very big man in the stew business. The first name's Dinty, and the second name's Moore. That figures, doesn't it?
I knew him.
Yes.
This is the legend of Dinty Moore. One day he took a pal to the store. Al, said Dinty, let's see you pick out Dinty Moore beef stew with potatoes and carrots, fresh as the beef in gravy, rich beyond belief. Now Dinty's pal was too young to read, yet he found Dinty Moore with lightning speed. How'd you know it was Dinty Moore stew?
When I saw the thumbprint, I knew it was you.
Old man, I got the hottest chili in town. Hormel chili.
Kid, I'm calling you. Ain't exactly tame, but I got Hormel hot chili. Your move, son. Hormel hot chili. It ain't for greenhorns.
Proctor Silex, Proctor Silex, up toaster oven, great features and value, it does it all.
Makes delicious everyday things like pre-buttered toast,
Buttered English muffins,
biscuits,
toasted cheese sandwiches,
pizza,
even hot hors d'oeuvres.
great for today's heat and serve foods.
Toasts fast.
And in this toaster oven, the toast pops up.
Proctor Silex.
Get the new Proctor Silex toaster oven at May Company and other fine stores.
Palmolive presents the body soap. Palmolive green with lanolin. Palmolive gold with deodorant. Palmolive green softens your skin as it cleans. It's like giving your whole body a facial. Palmolive gold helps keep your body refreshed because it helps to protect against germs and odor-causing bacteria. Palmolive green with lanolin for the body facial. Palmolive gold with deodorant for the body refresher. The body soaps from Palmolive.
Here is a segment from a show This is all completely spontaneous. That's one of the other joys of doing this show, is that we never really know for any given time what's going to happen. I have been kidding Rose Marie, and on that show, I believe, were Debbie Reynolds, John Biner, Carl Reiner. And they did something as a put-on. They just got up and walked off stage for a moment, and you'll see what happened. Bob, you want to roll that? Talking about early show business, I would imagine Rose Marie probably was in show business before any of us. No, what I meant was, no, you misunderstand. She started at an earlier age than any of us. That's what I meant. She
You convinced us, now convince her.
She was about... Actually, it's only 12, 13 years ago, but she started when she was 3, is what I meant by that. The words just tumbled out there, helter-skelter. Let me get out of this. Would you welcome Rose Marie? Not only one of the great sports of all times, Rose Marie.
All right. I didn't hear what you said back there. That thing doesn't work.
What I wanted to say.
John Biner will tell you.
What'd you say? What'd he say?
He said that when they first built a stage, you held a hammer.
What else did he say?
What?
You need more?
No, I was saying that you started at the earliest age of any of us in show business. What?
What did he
That's
say?
exact-
You're my friend. What did he say?
I said I did.
Show business longer than any of us.
And I, of course, didn't mean that. I meant that you started at an earlier possible age. And I wish that cat was here. If we ever needed that big cat, it's about right now. Yes, a big cat about that big. No, but you started, well, you were only, couldn't have been over 2.5, 3 at the most.
Yeah.
How about that? Okay, moving along. No, true.
True.
That's all I meant, Rosie. You know that. Now,
Really?
we've known each other for a short time. 6, 7 weeks. And, but you were a child, you were a child performer when you were a child.
That's right.
Very young. I thought they'd never leave. Anyway. How much time do we have? 43 minutes. Okay, it's time to play Stump the Band. Get your tunes ready quick. Do we have any commercials left? Don't have any commercials left. Want to cue the cat.
Why don't you do some of that funny stuff?
How would you know? I guess. If I don't get my quinine every hour, I go bananas.
Is that it?
That's about it.
How long you been in the business?
Welcome back to Rawhide. We've had some crazy nights. If walls could talk, they'd tell you about some great American homes and Sears paint.
The story is that George Washington called on Betsy Ross in June of 1776 and engaged her to make a flag. The stars will have 6 points, General Washington explained, because a 5-pointed star is very difficult to make. Betsy smiled, folded a square of paper, and quickly cut a 5-pointed star. 5 points it is, said Washington. And soon afterwards, Betsy delivered the first flag. This year, we're freshening Betsy Ross's home in Philadelphia with Sears' best interior latex paint. Long-lasting paint that handprints, stains, and smudges can't hurt. Sears' best comes in all your favorite colors and comes clean with soap and water. Will stand 8,000 scrubbing strokes, if it comes to that. Sears' best interior latex for great American homes like yours.
Some credit cards can buy you a meal in a restaurant. The American Express money card can buy you an elegant luncheon at the Four Seasons in New York. Or it can buy you a classic combination of French cuisine and scenery at Phuquet's in Paris, plus everything else from airfare to hotel rooms. I strongly recommend you apply for this one, the American Express money card for people who travel.
Ahoy, matey.
Captain Cupcake.
I don't see him.
Right there.
Hostess cupcakes, that is. Kids believe in me because they love that fresh, moist devil's food cake and creamy filling.
Have one, Mom. See him now, Ma?
I think I do.
Hostess cupcakes, fruit pies, and Twinkies. With Hostess, tasting is believing.
This next film clip you'll see is from a show we did a couple of years ago in California. And this is not filmed. I mean, it is filmed, of course, tonight. But we did it live that night on the show. We didn't try to pre-shoot it like they do a movie, which is rather incredible because lots of things could have gone wrong with this. But we had Doug McClure and James Drury from the Virginian on. And Andrew McLaughlin, the famous director, was staged a fight scene for us. We ran it, I think, one time in rehearsal. And then we tried it on the air. And it turned out remarkably well. So here's the famous barroom fight scene. Bob?
Action!
Give me a whiskey.
Whiskey. That happens to be my drink.
Give me a whiskey. Give me a whiskey. That's my whiskey.
I think of all the takeoffs we did, we probably did more of them on the opening of Mission Impossible, which is, at that time, I don't think they opened with a tape recorder anymore, do they?
No.
But as you know, they used to open every night with him giving his instructions in some ridiculous place. A phone booth we did it once, and a car, and...
This was the most ridiculous.
This was the most ridiculous of all. This is the only one that they probably didn't use, and all the time that show has been on the air. So here is our opening to Mission Improbable.
Good morning, Mr. Phipps. Buchek's Colonel Gregory Dashka is the man most able to keep peace with his country's neighbor to the south, Pakachu. He was recently captured by a small group of fanatics led by Valdor Bradkin and is now being held in a fortress outside of Plisgard. Your mission, Jim, should you decide to accept it, is to return Dashka from Plisgard without arousing any concern in either Pakachu or Buchek. Should you or any member of your MI force be captured or killed, the Secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions. Good luck, Jim. This recording will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
right back.
Some color TV companies talk about their new bright picture tubes. Others about their automatic fine-tuning. Some talk about their automatic tint control. Magnavox has all those important features and more with its total automatic color system. So you can buy a set for one feature or another, or you can buy a Magnavox color set with all those features and more. Magnavox gives you more.
When life urges you on, do your feet say, forget it? Maybe you need copies. The terrific way they look is only half of it. The other half is the terrific way they feel. Wear copies, because you'll never get anywhere without your feet.
To see Vespa in leg caressing stretch shiny crinkle, call free.
Watch this filter. It traps oils and sediment that can make coffee taste bitter. Now meet Max Pack's coffee filter rings. Ground coffee packed in its own filter. Just perk. The filter traps oils and sediment that can cause bitterness. So Max Pack's tastes great, cup after cup. Then throw the filter away. New Max Packs. Great tasting coffee in a throwaway filter.
This horse is unique. He's a thoroughbred, bred to do one thing better than any other animal in the world: run. The thoroughbreds will be running at Santa Anita during the Oak Tree Meet. Be there for the action, the excitement of thoroughbred racing at Santa Anita. It all begins Tuesday, October 5th. 9 races, 2 exactas every day. The Oak Tree Meet at Santa Anita.
Well, it's fun to look back and see a lot of those things. Isn't it?
Wow, imagine how much stuff we've done. Wow.
Watch us go old, I hope gracefully. No, it's been an incredible amount of fun for the past 9 years. I want to thank, of course, everybody on the Tonight Show staff. They're an incredible bunch of people to work with, and especially all of you. It wouldn't have been possible without you watching us for 9 years. I thank you for that, and I hope you'll be with us Monday. Good night. Thank you.
This program was pre-recorded.
Will the partners get their man? Yes, as soon as they get out of jail, tomorrow night.
History of College Television course for credit. 4. Call now to enroll for credit.
Years ago, Southern California Edison entered a once inaccessible part of the High Sierra in Central California and began Project Big Creek. Edison's goal was to harness the spring thaws by creating a series of lakes and dams to generate electricity. Edison also began an extensive conservation program. Today, this area, with its lakes and miles of streams, is also benefited by Edison's experimental trout farm and Edison's scientific tree farm. And Big Creek opened up a vast recreation area for the public. From 6 man-made lakes, water is now controlled and is also used for irrigation during hot, dry summers in the San Joaquin Valley. Conservation, another of the many ways Southern California Edison is working to protect the environment we all share.
Kirsch introduces the 1972 window. It can be basic. It can be cheerful. It can be bold. It can be elegant. It can be anything you want it to be if you start with Kirsch Drapery Hardware. Our 124-page book, Windows Beautiful, shows you how. $1 at fine stores everywhere. For the store nearest you, call 800-243-6100 toll-free. Anytime.
Okay, Ralphs.
Everybody knows the government has frozen prices. Now where are you?
Our guarantee still stands.
How?
Well, remember, the government didn't lower everyday supermarket prices. It just froze them where they were.
So high prices can stay high.
But Ralph's prices are frozen low.
Then it's still true.
On identical brands and product quality?
No prices are lower prices than Ralph's prices.
Right.
KNBC-4 Los Angeles. This is the KNBC News Service sign-off edition. The time is now 1:02 Saturday morning, October 2nd. Richie Reed, an expert on population problems for the U.S. government, was stabbed to death in Washington, D.C. Friday night. His body was found in a washroom on the 5th floor of the new Executive Office building. That building is just 300 yards from the White House. Reed was stabbed 20 times. Police don't have any leads at this hour. Fugitive Stephen Bingham was charged with 5 counts of murder yesterday in connection with a bloody escape attempt from San Quentin Prison last August 21st. Bingham is suspected of smuggling a gun to inmate George Jackson. The man, officials say, triggered a deadly shootout when he tried to escape. Jackson, 2 other inmates, and 3 prison guards were killed. Bingham, a civil rights activist, hasn't been seen since the day of the shooting. Black Panther leader Huey Newton is getting the royal treatment in Red China. Last night he turned up in Premier Zhou Enlai's party for a National Day celebration in Peking. The celebration in Peking was subdued, just as all of the other celebrations throughout China were. What happened in those celebrations did nothing to shed any light on a suspected internal crisis in Red China. U.S. Attorney General John Mitchell, President Nixon's #1 political advisor, seemed to be tuning up for the 1972 election last night in a speech in Los Angeles. Mitchell strongly denounced 2 possible Democratic presidential nominees, Senator Edward Kennedy of Massachusetts and Senator Vance Harkey from Indiana. Mitchell said the 2 senators used gutter tactics in their recent attacks on the president's Vietnam policies. Mitchell didn't name names, but everyone at the meeting of the Republican State Central Committee knew who he was talking about.
But last week, and I must call these incidents to your attention, 2 of our opponents on the other side went far beyond the reasonable limitations of political rhetoric. I refer first to a Midwestern senator who said it right here in California, and I believe it was in this hotel, that the President of the United States was blatantly lying about the war in Vietnam. Second, I refer to another senator who made the cruel statement to the families of the American POWs that the prisoners were rotting in communist camps because the president has not responded to enemy proposals in a manner that suited the senator. I can tell you that no one has been more forthright on the subject of the Vietnam War, and no one has been more deeply concerned in the activities that he has undertaken with the hope of freeing our POWs than the President of the United States.
Anthony Russo, one of the key figures in the leaking of the Pentagon Papers, is no longer in jail. He made a deal with the U.S. District Court judge yesterday. Russo agreed to answer questions of a grand jury looking into the leaking of the papers. In return, the judge agreed to make those questions and Russo's answers available to the public. Russo, a close associate of Daniel Ellsberg's, spent 45 days in prison on contempt of court charges for refusing to appear before a grand jury. There was more trouble in Belfast, Northern Ireland Friday. Another British soldier was shot to death. He was gunned down by a sniper. A suspect is in custody. The British soldier was the 25th English serviceman killed in Northern Ireland this year.
See those 3 college girl waitresses? Well, I've got a secret for you. One of them is really a 30-year-old housewife. Can you spot her?
Hello, Mr. Kirby.
Hello.
Mr. Kirby.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kirby.
Hello. Did you guess? Hands are a good clue. Let's see your hands, girls. They all look so young. The housewife uses ivory liquid for all her dishwashing. And ivory liquid is so mild, it helps her hands stay young-looking. Let's take one more look at their hands. Did you pick the housewife? Hey, who's this?
Hi, Mommy.
Oh, to my daughter, Hillary.
Well, she's all that gave you away. Your hands sure didn't.
Well, I try to take care of them, and I always use ivory liquid for dishes. I think it helps.
A settlement may be near in the 94-day-old West Coast dock strike. President Nixon discussed the situation with Labor Secretary James Hodgson Friday night. And based on that discussion, the president says he will not